Okay, hello, Tennis Thomas here again with another great, this time it's an untip. It's a reversal of a tip that I heard so frequently when I was learning tennis. And that is that you pretend like there's a flashlight on the tip of the butt of your racket and you point it to the oncoming ball. And that's how you hit the ball. Well, if you point the racket to the oncoming ball like this, how do you hit the ball? You can't hit the ball. There's just no way to hit the ball. Instead of pointing the butt of the racket to the oncoming ball, you should point it about 22 inches inside the oncoming ball. If you do that, then when you go into your arc, you'll be in perfect position to hit the ball. So when your racket is perpendicular to the net, when you're going into your drop, and you're dropping the racket and you're not starting your arc yet, because remember, we're compressing the arc. And if you watch the video on the Golden Mean, you'll know what I mean by compressing the arc. But when you come down like this, and your racket should be pointing perpendicular to the net and pointing 22 inches inside the ball. And why do I say 22 inches? Because from here to about the center of your sweet spot is 22 inches. Okay, so when I say 22 inches, of course, I don't mean exactly 22 inches, but you can get a feeling for it. About 22 inches, about this distance right here is what you want. So if I point my racket to this point right here, when I go into my drop, when I go into my arc, boom, there I am. I'm gonna hit the ball right on the center of the racket. So don't point your butt to the ball, point it to here. And I'm going to put some videos on here and I'll show you what I mean by showing you some pros doing exactly what I'm talking about. Point the racket to here. Now some people will take the racket back farther than perpendicular to the net, which is fine. But when you come back to here and you go into your drop, you're still going to come back to here and go into your drop. And when you do that, you still want to point the butt of the racket right to about there. So I'm going to put some videos on and show you, and I hope this will help some of you who may be confused by the flashlight on the butt of the racket tip. So that's it. Okay, here we have Zverev, who has a great two-handed backhand. So notice when he gets into the racket drop position where the butt of his racket is pointed. It's 22 inches to the right of the ball. Now, because he pointed 22 inches to the right of the ball, his arc is perfectly lined up to hit the center of the strings, and the racket's just perfectly lined up. So here's Zverev's diagram for the perfectly lined up stroke. Okay, so let's take a look at another pro's backhand. Okay, I stopped him when his racket is perpendicular to the net, and notice he's aiming about 22 inches to the right of the ball. Now, because he's properly lined up, now his contact is just perfect. Okay, this picture shows his 22-inch lineup and his perfect contact. Okay, what about the forehand? It's the same thing. Here's Nadal, and he takes his racket pretty far back, but when he gets to the point where his racket is perpendicular to the net, he's going to be aiming 22 inches to the right of the tennis balls. Okay, I've stopped him here when his racket is perpendicular to the net, and notice that he's pointed 22 inches to the right of the tennis ball. And because the butt of his racket is properly pointed, the rest of the stroke becomes easy. He's perfectly lined up.